welcome to the Panic Button. I'm Nina.
I'm Jesse.
So on Sunday, I was watching a Club Random with Bill Maher, and he had Jillian Michaels on.
Biggest Loser, Jillian Michaels.
Yeah, lesbian Jillian Michaels, and the conversation the conversation was going very good for a while. You know, they were talking about the COVID vaccine, and they were talking about Ozempic and stuff. But then when it got onto the topic of Biden, things kind of derailed.
What life is, lessons and seeing the pattern. And so, that's why I say Biden, I wish he would get out of the way for somebody younger. But as far as can he actually do the job? Yes, he can. He's not senile. And most of the decisions are made
he's not senile?
He's not senile.
Bill, did you see the thing where like, the Civil War and you needed more airports? And he's like, whoa, he's not senile.
He's not senile.
But Bill,
that's different.
What is that then? It wasn't happening like that when he was Obama's VP.
It doesn't, no, of course, he's a lot older and he shows it. It doesn't affect what matters. He doesn't, when they're talking in the Oval Office, first of all, he doesn't talk like that because he's just not, when you're old, you're not confident talking publicly.
Gone to me.
He's not gone. The brain is not gone. The decisions.
Okay, do you think he's making them? I don't think he's making them.
Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Of course he's making them.
How?
How?
He literally just called Trump the sitting president the other day.
And Trump he did a whole rant.
Did I just tell you Trump was mentally sound?
I know, but he did the same thing. People get up in the upper years, and then, especially when you're like talking in public a lot, it's going to happen.
Bill.
Don't give me Bill in this area. I'm the one who doesn't know shit. Maybe you don't. I'm not saying you don't know shit.
No, I'm not claiming to know anything about politics, but watch the friggin' videos of the guy.
I've seen the videos.
He can't get off the stage.
That's not true either. I've seen the videos. We've seen the same thing.
The bicycle store. He doesn't know where he's at.
Area explored. We have a difference of opinion.
Fair. You can school me on it.
Nobody knows he's senile. I'm just in complete denial.
Everyone's seen the videos. And I've seen the videos of like CNN, MSNBC saying how they all have the same script too. They would say the same thing, that he's sharp and he knows what's going on and he's decisive and he takes action, but it's never been filmed. They don't have it on film.
That was my Biden at the Hawaii thing when they had the hurricanes and the tornadoes were happening or whatever. That was my Biden impression.
You know what I mean? They have all the... Wake up. They have all this footage of Biden falling asleep, doing all that stuff, but they don't have any footage of him making decisive decisions and being very aware.
He decided to fall asleep at those tables. I don't know what you're talking about.
When he's sitting alone, not alone, when he's sitting with advisors in the Oval Office, where the job is actually done, not in this arena, which has you so interested in, this shiny object.
Shiny object?
It's the shiny object that is distracting you because you're not in the Oval Office.
He looks demented. And I don't mean demented crazy,
exactly,
I mean like dementia.
Looks.
In your opinion.
Okay.
To me, those are signs of dementia.
It's interesting because people I never thought would vote for Trump have told me they might vote for Trump because they can't see Biden successfully using an iPhone. If you can't use an iPhone, how are we supposed to trust you with our launch codes?
He won't remember them anyway.
No, he'll remember them and then talk about them while he's getting his lunch that he ordered from his nurse. I'm sorry, secretary. I'm not against Biden. I was totally okay with Biden entering office when it first happened.
Till I saw titties on the White House lawn.
Even so, I'm not like, I'll leave the country if Trump becomes president or Biden becomes president again. I just wish that America was in a better spot.
Me too. Oh, I was going to mention something. I find it very fascinating that the mainstream news is trying to, and Bill Maher is trying to, for lack of a better word, gaslight us into thinking that what we're seeing with our own eyes and hearing with our own ears isn't actually happening. Because when he's off camera and he's in the Oval Office.
That's when he's at his sharpest. That's it right there.
We never see it. They never film it.
That's outside. He's not.
Probably everybody does.
Maybe.
Do you ever walk into a room and you forget why you walked into the room?
I think there are degrees of this.
Of course, there are degrees.
Advanced on this
exactly,
spectrum.
And that's what we're talking about, degrees. You think the degree, I think it's ridiculous. You apparently think I'm ridiculous.
I don't think you're...
Is this the ageism debate? Is Bill like, he's maybe old, but he's competent, and Jillian's like, he's losing it.
No, I think there's a difference between Bill and Jillian. Jillian seems more logical because she
Youthful.
did come from the left.
But also
left.
youthful.
But Bill seems like he just wants to either win the argument or win the debate or just win the presidential election, whatever it is. I think he's so, like the mainstream media, is so gung-ho for pushing this Biden isn't losing his mind, Trump's bad kind of mentality, like bad things aren't happening, the numbers say.
If you admit that Biden is losing his mind, that would inherently mean that Trump should be ahead because he has more of a mind, right?
I would have more respect and would have more potentially want to vote more Democratic if they would acknowledge reality more. But they don't. They're just making excuses. Like Bill Maher's making excuses for Biden, right? But if Trump acted the way that Biden does, he'd be going all over him.
I think that if the left was able to say Biden is not a good choice moving forward, but we have an alternative, then I'd be more apt to hear them out. But they won't even talk about that.
Ridiculous.
That's kind of your tone, yes, that I'm ridiculous to even think of it.
I'm surprised that it doesn't alarm you. That's all.
It
I don't
doesn't.
think you're ridiculous. I
What
can't
alarms
understand
me
why it
is
doesn't
that he's
alarm
going to
you.
lose the election because this is how he looks in public. That's what alarms me. It doesn't alarm me, like, what is he going to do when they come to him tomorrow when he's in the Oval Office at 9:30 a.m.? He's probably good, like a lot of people, especially at that age, in the morning. Don't get him in the afternoon. That's fine. We can do the business in the morning. Sir, there's the bill that...
Selective dementia.
The country got bombed at night.
Shit, he's sleeping.
He's way sharper in the morning. Let's leave it till then.
I don't think Bill can actually hear himself right now.
I think that it really is just a matter of we cannot have Trump again.
I think that's what it is. But instead of acknowledging the reality of the situation, they're kind of just trying to push this denial narrative as if we're all going to believe it.
Hey Siri, how many people live in the United States?
In 2021, the
Oh, I was
population
off.
of the United States was 332,278,200.
So out of over 300 million people, that's what we get. Out of over 300 million people.
We're trying to get passed in the Senate, the immigration bill that Trump is blocking. Should we call Senator McConnell? Yes. And he gets on he can do that. He's still doing that. I know people who are very close.
Okay.
It's a whole different issue than what he looks like in public. The problem is the one affects the other.
Furthermore, I thought you look your best in public. I thought at home is where you hide your secrets. I thought home is where you go to kick off your shoes, take off your pants, and crack a beer. I didn't think that at home is where you're spot on.
No, he's going to crack a hip.
Did you see the White House Christmas video? Everyone was like, careful on the ladders, Joe.
You think he's actually going to be the nominee?
Of course.
Really?
That's a foregone conclusion. Really? You're asking me that question?
I am, because on the other
Well,
side
then
of
you're
the...
not following it that closely. This is a done deal. There's no serious people running against him, and now the primary season is underway.
We're already into the rumors that even Dave Rubin and Megyn Kelly are talking about, that when they get to the Democratic nomination, or the Democratic convention, and he's gonna quietly be like, oh, you know what, not gonna do it, and then somebody will slot themselves in. Newsom, Michelle.
This is pure conjecture. I like both Megyn and Dave. They're respectable, but if this is what they're saying, and I don't know that it is, but if that's what
they're saying, there's a story being leaked.
A story being leaked.
But it's
exactly.
on both of their shows. They're definitely exploring it.
Use a little critical thinking on this. A story
Even
being
Tucker
leaked.
says this, and I know you're going to say Tucker sucks, but I know you're going to say that about him.
Well, he so does. And these two have a lot of loony ideas also. Right-wing loony ideas. I like them both, and they're pretty, Megyn is much more, I think, center. I mean, Dave's good too. He's I think, turned on Trump.
They're definitely
This is just something they pulled out of their ass, and it's not going to happen. I'll bet you any amount of money.
It was a rumor, I guess, that came out of...
that came out of an ass.
Do you want to make a bet?
Came out of an ass.
You want to make a bet on it?
What?
We can bet to see if they pull out a, in the bag Democrat.
Oh, it's possible. I don't know. I have no idea.
I bet you, and we switch seats if it happens.
Okay, we switch seats if they say, hey, Joe ain't running. It's this
Michelle
woman.
Obama. Yeah, we switch seats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's nothing. It's not going to happen. They're going to wheel him out. He'll be wearing as much makeup as Trump is by then. If they're smart, what they'll do is write the speech like now. because nothing's going to change. Write the speech now. Have him work on it like every day from now until until this convention, like is in July. And so it's like second nature to him. And so we can just, if people just see him make one like speech, like, and it's off a teleprompter, he can do it, but he is a stutterer.
I've heard that argument, and I understand
No,
it.
it's just
but,
part of the
Let's
equation.
go back 10 years. He wasn't speaking like this.
He wasn't. Again, no argument. He looks awful. This is why I've been imploring the Democratic Party to do something and switch him out for somebody, but they're not going to do it. And that is not going to happen. The die is cast. It's the new year. The primaries have started. He is the nominee and will be unless he dies or is incapacitated. So that's a fact we have to all deal with now. How do you best deal with it? Teach him the speech now. It's like the story about Corn Pop. You know, he's got these stories in his...
I don't want to see Joe Biden die. I'm just saying, like, with his age and his case, it wouldn't be surprising.
You know, he's got these stories in his head that he likes to tell. He's been telling them for years, the same stories.
Both of them alarm me. I think a lot of laymen like myself are kind of shocked.
But
that
you would
this
vote
is-
for Trump over Biden,
I didn't
perhaps?
vote last time, and I probably wouldn't vote this time.
Really? You don't see a difference enough between Biden and Trump?
I don't like Biden at all either.
I get it, but that's, wow.
Some of the things that are so alarming about Trump, you're going to say I'm crazy, but I see similarities. People often are like, Trump's a racist. I'm like, well, so is Biden. No, he's not. Like, well, he made racist remarks about Obama. He was homies with Strom Thurmond. He eulogized the guy. He's responsible for putting more people of color in prison with the 94 crime bill. Like, this is your fucking hero,
You know
this
what?
guy? Tell me I'm wrong. This is just...
What I'm going to say, I think it's very important that we listen to both left and right-wing media sources because I don't trust anybody fully. But they tell you they're feeding a narrative. They're stroking the audience first.
100%.
They want to tell the audience left and right. But having said that,
You think there's a
I think
lesser
you're
evil?
listening to too much right-wing bullshit these days. I do. I think you're listening to a lot of
So
right-wing.
you don't think this guy, all that stuff that he's done, that I just listed,
I mean,
is like...
Okay. Here's the problem I have with Bill Maher and a lot of people. I'm sorry, on the left. I watch left-wing and right-wing media. But I used to watch left-wing media all the time. I used to watch The View Monday through Friday. I
stay-at-home
used to
mom,
watch
you.
H3 all the time. Stay-at-home mom, yeah, right? That's me. I used to CNN. I used to watch Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Trevor Noah. I used to watch all those people.
I didn't have TV
John
growing
Oliver.
up.
And
I
like
didn't.
maybe not 5 years ago, maybe like 4 years ago, I started to not agree with them. You know, it was a slow process, but they would begin to say things like on The View. They would begin to say things I just wasn't agreeing with. In the Republican Meghan McCain or Jedediah Abila, I would start agreeing with them, and I'm like, how is this? Hey, I'm not supposed to be agreeing with the Republican side of the table. I mean, I don't agree with her on anything else. That started happening, and it started happening more and more and more. So what frustrates me, people on the left, they're like, oh, you're just watching a whole bunch of right-wing media. You don't know what you're talking about, even though it's like I'm seeing with my eyes, listening with my ears. I'm being very objective. And so you're over here and I don't know what you're doing. But they'll try to like gaslight you into thinking that you are being caught up in the right-wing commentary when it's like, no, I'm actually not. I'm being objective. I don't like things that they say, and there's some things I like that they say, but on the left, when I watch everything, most of it is just, I don't agree with it anymore. I just don't. They're just not living in reality. It's very frustrating. The end.
I understand what you were saying, though. You have to listen to both sides because sometimes one's way too caught up in their own jive.
It's the second day and we're continuing on with this video.
Titties.
You think the whole thing with his son is totally innocent?
No, I don't think any of
Why
it's
do you-
innocent or completely wrong. It's just like boring because it's like, yeah, if you want to,
and completely nefarious with Trump.
If you want to play the game of picking out somebody who's been in public life for 50 years and who's not a perfect human being, as none of us are.
But then but they crucified Trump for the same shit. That's what I'm saying.
You know, did he work with Strom Thurmond? Yes, he was in the Senate. It's just such a dumb right-wing talking point. There's no truth.
He's using so many things that drive me crazy right now. He gets on Trump about a whole bunch of shit. And then when she tells him about the things that are concerning about Biden, he's like, but, apples and oranges, semantics. When it comes to Trump, it's okay, but when it comes to Biden, it's not okay. That's like two different rules.
That's because it's for different sides. It's a bias. That's bias.
That is bias.
That
but then
literally
you're
is
doing
bias.
the gaslighting thing too.
Again, because
That's
of bias.
a right-wing talking point. Man, you know how many times I've heard that on The View? A lot.
I want to know unbiased perspectives, which is Jillian Michaels in this exchange.
Yeah. When you're coming from the left, you're not like a Trumper. She doesn't even like Trump.
In it. It's just.
What about the fact that he said,
Yeah.
well, we got a colored guy that's,
Yes,
is
again,
clean and smart. It's a fairy tale.
Yes, again.
Really?
Again,
If Trump said that, we would all be like, holy shit.
You're so exaggerating the importance of something like that, is my view of
No,
your.
I felt this way about him.
So it's like
when he was
you're
selected as Obama's VP.
It's like this is you're reacting to talking points, which is what they want you to do.
Why are they talking points if they're not something that should be talked about, though? Are
People
they
are
not?
bringing this up as a concern.
Yes, there are some things that are just propaganda, but it's not an inappropriate thing to discuss that Joe Biden, is losing potency, is losing his edge. Do you really want a president that has no edge? What do you say? Come talk to them in the morning? Like,
Yeah.
like
The president has a specific time where he works.
So if there's a
When he works.
disaster, if there's a disaster at 7 p.m.,
Damn.
darn, he's in bed. He had his early bird at 3. Come on, guys. The president has to be 35 at the youngest. Why do we have 80-year-olds?
Because it's the gerontocracy.
And I'm not coming from an ageist perspective. You could be 60.
If you look at Biden when he was vice president versus now, there's a absolute difference in the way that he talks, walks, moves. He was awake back then. He's not now.
To me, like, there's no contest between what your issues are with Biden, which are issues. They're minor. It's like I feel like you understand this on a physiological level. If we talked about the human body and the difference between dandruff and pancreatic cancer, you would get that. But in politics, I feel like it's very similar, but you're not there with the politics. You just like Biden, when somebody rubs people the wrong way, Hillary
75 million people don't like him. So maybe they also know dandruff and pancreatitis. I mean, half the country is not. I don't like either of them.
So it's interesting how he minimalizes it to say it's something as minor as dandruff, which can happen to anyone for no bad reason, versus pancreatitis, which is your pancreas basically like dying inside you. We made it through Trump. We made it through. I'm not saying we should have him again.
And we didn't end up in gay camps.
Right. I'm just saying we all made it, and it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, guys. Like, from someone who was like, no, Trump, no, not Trump, no. It wasn't as bad as we thought. When he was president, we had comedy gold.
It was very entertaining.
Gold. Because when he's the one who's setting the comedy standards, you can go anywhere. Finances were okay. It was better than it is now. I'm not blaming it all on Trump or Biden.
See, but we could laugh at Trump then.
But comedy was like a thing.
But
Comedy was real.
Biden, we're not laughing. We're just like, aw,
It's sad.
he's sad.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
like,
a laughing matter.
And dandruff isn't that bothersome either. I get the point that he's trying to make, but I don't think it stays true. I think it's very biased still.
By the way, I'm not a Trumper.
First of all, half the country always hates whoever is the other party's president. Hates. That's a given. It doesn't end. What I'm saying is you're working backwards from, I hate him.
He's going a little bit far there.
Everyone was okay with Obama. I'm not even kidding.
I mean, some of the right-wing people didn't like him, but
We all got along.
I've never heard the right-wing media trash a president as much as the left-wing media trashes Trump not being president. I mean, they just pile on him. And it's cool. He's fine with it, which is great. Got a backbone. Wonderful.
Funny, haha.
Yeah.
She's not wrong.
Not
with any of
wrong.
the things she's saying. He's just on the defense.
Exactly. And that's how it's coming across, too. It's coming across like,
How old is Bill Maher?
Oh, shit. 60-something.
Bill Maher is 68 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at what point does it just feel like your grandfather defending his buddy?
That's what it sounds like.
And it's kind of sad. The amount of, oh, you're wrong and I'm right. It just reminds me of talking to my dad about politics, and it really sucks.
You're too stupid to know what you're talking about. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, like you have intelligence in fitness, you don't have intelligence in politics, and that's why you're not understanding that this is basically like a minor itch versus like a saw blade going halfway through your neck. Like,
But when you're talking down to half the country, that's not going to work for your side. It's not going to work in your favor at all.
Like,
him.
now, why do I hate him? Because he worked with Strom Thurmond on a bill, like every senator did.
I don't
like,
hate him.
And then
I don't
it's
like Gavin
because
Newsom
his son is a
more.
fucking, like, he's got a million fucking pockmarks on it. It's like,
what would be your thought? This is one I
It's
feel
just
like it'd
not-
speak a little bit on.
it's not. It doesn't rise to the level of the hate you have for him.
I don't hate him.
It's,
I don't
but
like
it's
him.
like,
I don't
She specifically said she doesn't like either of them. She never said hate at all. He's projecting. I would say he's projecting. Like what he thinks she thinks the way everyone on the right thinks. On the
Yeah.
far right, like Fox News. He's like, oh, you're just a Fox News person because you said you watch Tucker Carlson sometimes. And so you're misrepresenting her completely. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm
Yes.
using the right words for it, but that's,
yes, you're speaking for her. You're filling her mouth with words she didn't say.
yeah. That's how it's coming across. And that's not a beneficial conversation for your side at all.
No, Bill is quite biased.
Yes,
And
right now.
I would like to know what it would take for him to dislike Biden, or what it would take for him to want to vote for Trump. Like, what
That's a good Peter Boghossian question.
what would it take? But also, I was someone who hated Trump, and I'm not as hard against him as I am against Joe Biden right now.
I never liked him. I would never say I hated him.
Oh,
because but I didn't like him.
I was 17 and I hated him. I hated him with a passion.
Yeah.
I was very left-centered at that point. And can I just say that I'm the same person? I wouldn't say I shifted that far. I just stepped back from some of the intense viewpoints, and it was not as bad as you made it out to be.
I remember I used to watch on Fox News just to like see what they were talking about when I only used to watch like MSNBC, The View, CNN, blah blah blah. And I would put on Fox News and I would just go, like, oh, they just don't sound logical, reasonable at all. And I used to cringe when I used to listen to it. I used to have to turn it off. And now when I turn on the left wing stuff, I have the same reaction. And he's trying to say pretty much that we've been captured because heaven forbid we think for ourselves.
I haven't been captured. I don't like Newsom because he doesn't fucking hold up on his promises. Bill can't give one solid reason as to why he keeps mentioning Newsom.
I know, aside from he's got balls. I don't think so.
And he's also not giving reasons that we should keep Joe Biden in. He's just giving reasons why Joe Biden is a little
Better
bit
than Trump?
better than Trump, or why we shouldn't be so hard on Joe Biden because he's doing good things.
I don't think they don't have any good reasons why they want to keep him in, so they have to make up reasons like, hey, the stock market's doing good.
Listen, Bill, let Trump win, and then you make nothing but money talking about him.
Not great content, and I don't think I'm going into a gulag anytime soon.
I don't like him.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
get
think
it.
he's great at his job.
he's just-
he does seem to be incredibly senile. to
But I
me.
do think you've been listening to a lot of right wing.
I listen to.
I feel
both.
like
I
you're-
watch you all the time.
Well, I'm not right wing, but
I'm saying.
But I say
just
a lot of
know.
the things right wingers appreciate me saying about how stupid the left is.
You call it like you see it.
Yes, I do.
Well, okay. Can I ask you? What do you think of Gavin Newsom?
I just had him on my show.
I know. I thought you were a little soft there. Thought you could have gone a little harder on the guy.
Dude, when I was watching that episode, that's exactly what I was thinking. Why isn't he fucking asking about, hey, when the Chinese president came in, all the homeless people were gone. Where'd you put them? Because
Bill
they're
was-
back now.
Bill was too busy.
He blowing him? He was. He was giving him softball questions.
Isn't it lovely
But
being
he
the
would go so
governor of
hard on
California?
other people.
Isn't it so lovely being in charge of California? It's just
California.
It's just so. It's so not. I
Fair?
don't. It's not fair, and he's pushing Gavin Newsom because he's hoping that popular vote will get him in.
On the guy. Like
yeah.
you brought up almonds, you nailed him on that, but he's taking money from Big Ag Bill. That's why he didn't like. Oh yeah, almonds. Anyway, I'm building desalination plants. You're taking tons of.
By the way, almonds kill a ton of land, and you take a ton of almonds to produce almond milk. It's crazy. And that's what California's up to.
And it's bad for the environment as well.
It's not good for the environment, and they are just like milking the land for almond milk.
The cognitive dissonance is high in California.
Money from big ag, which is why almonds are still in California.
That's true. I didn't know what the you got me. I didn't know what the answer to that is.
That's the answer.
and-
Or like, how come PG&E was allowed to get away with the 2018 fires? One of the top
Well,
contributors to
you
his
know,
kick.
I've got like 12 minutes at the top of the show to cover the whole world. I wasn't about to like make it all about the almonds. You know,
Oh my God. There's so many things he could have brought up. He's like, well, we only had like 12 minutes, so I could only ask him softball questions because he would get really mad at me and he wouldn't talk to me for like 2 weeks.
And then people wouldn't vote for him to be president instead of Joe Biden or Trump.
Dude.
the fact that I brought up the almonds
All right, okay,
is something
touche.
nobody else would,
Touche, my
would
friend,
even fucking.
touche.
I've been trying to get Gavin to run for president for a very long time,
Ah,
and
are you serious? Are we living in Gavin Newsom's California? Why?
yeah, and I'm sure your life is just a
I
nightmare.
left because of him.
Oh right, you're
Moved
in
to
Florida.
Miami.
It's so you know what? I'll tell you something.
Lived here my
In
whole life.
2020, I've lived here since '83,
Okay.
and I love where I live. I love California.
He's trying to prepare for a gotcha moment. Like, oh, you poor rich person. How could anything possibly affect you? Coming from the rich person.
Malibu.
I'm dug in here. I did in 2020 when there was a week when the sun was blotted out from the sky because of fires. I did look at moving to Florida. Now, I think it was a little like when I was contemplating suicide when I was in high school and college. But I did look at it because I share your frustrations with California. I do, and those are the things I was saying to him.
I mean, this is one
The
I think I
things-
could speak
But
to
again, if you
pretty eloquently.
Are you happier in Florida?
Yeah.
What is it in Florida that compensated more than what you had here?
It feels less crazy than it does here. Here, you just
Florida's less crazy.
Yeah. Hear me out. Hear me out on this.
Like
Your
fucking an
girl,
alligator?
Sage Steele asked me, she's like, what was the moment when you felt like California had lost its mind? And it was a piece of legislation that I can't recall.
Did it affect your life?
Is the crime affecting our lives? Is the homelessness affecting our
was
lives?
crime affecting your life
Well,
here in
yeah,
California?
absolutely. My house got broken into.
Your house got broken into.
Yes, and guess what? The relationship with PG&E.
His gotcha moment went. He's like, oh, crime really affected you, Miss Malibu. She's like, yeah, motherfucker, it is.
I live
It
in.
was.
I don't make a lot of money, and I live in a poor area, and I still had my fucking car broken into.
I know.
My sister,
It's
my
crazy.
sister lives in a nicer area, and she still had her car broken into and stolen.
Yeah.
And then the cops were like, "Oh, you got to go find it." How? She doesn't have a car. The cops tell you to find your own missing car.
They're the ones that have the laptops in their vehicles where they could just type in someone's
You mean
license
the
plate number.
scanners? The scanners that would say stolen vehicle?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd think.
Well, the New York State's kind of lost a lot of what it
I think they called her when they found the car on the side of the road, abandoned and destroyed.
My house burned down in 2018.
Where's your house?
I lived in Malibu. On
Malibu.
Bonsall, yeah.
You got broken into in Malibu?
I got. Guess who let the guy out during COVID? Because I
Wait a
got
minute.
the letter. Newsom. It was the guy's third offense. He broke into our house. He had duct tape and a video camera. Anyway, long story, but third strike. Guy goes to jail. Gets let out during COVID. I mean,
Is that not insane? He had duct tape and a video camera, and he was breaking into a famous lesbian's house where she lives with her wife. And he let him out. He let him out.
Well, yeah, he's got to get a second shot at it.
This was his third offense.
He's got to get a
fourth
fifth.
shot.
He's got to get a fifth and a sixth and a seventh shot at this.
Oh my God. When did America become the country for
Criminals.
criminals and against citizens? Good law-abiding citizens.
It seems
What
like
would make you want to be a good law-abiding citizen if you get penalized for it?
we talked about this a little earlier, but it seems like people are more sympathetic with criminals these days. And not, oh, they stole some food and they needed to feed their kids criminals. No. I'm talking about the criminals that are breaking into your cars, breaking into your homes, stealing, killing people. People are more sympathetic towards that these days. And I don't understand why. Do you? Do you?
I don't think crazy, so I don't know.
Do you understand it? Because, like, I can understand someone going in and stealing, like, $20 worth of groceries because they have no money. But there's people going in and stealing $700, $800, $900 worth of merchandise that has nothing to do with food. It's just kind of crazy to me. And everyone's like, yeah, go get that Gucci bag for $3.99. Go sell it. Go get your money. It's like, but you're not, like, how are you going to manage to do that when you're 70? How are you going to make a life off of that?
Oh, you think they have long-term goals?
No, that's the point. It's like, this is so backwards.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Backwards.
Fucking break. You're not going to hold PG&E accountable for that fire in 2018.
Yeah.
You're going to decriminalize everything but regulate nothing. You're prioritizing the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, come on. Really?
Again, my thing with Gavin is, first of all, he can win. First of all, I just like him. I think he's really smart. Is he a politician? Yes. That's the is he?
This reminds me of Bill's thing with Woody Harrelson. He's got like a bromance with Woody Harrelson. I feel like this is the same thing, but this is government. Your bromance with Newsom affects everybody else if he gets elected. Everybody else. It might work good for you, sir, Bill Maher, and I still like you. I think you might have a tumor, though. Is he 78, 68? Okay, he might have a tumor. Maybe something happened, maybe in a minor stroke when he was sleeping, and now his brain's a little messed up. Or maybe Gavin gave him, like, some extended release scopolamine. But something's wrong with him, man. He's way too buddy friendly with Newsom.
I think he just said the answer.
What?
He said, I like him. He could win. He's on my team. And he's a politician. That's a politician, a liar, a manipulator, someone who doesn't tell the complete truth ever.
And only cares about themselves.
Exactly. The reason he likes Gavin Newsom
Yeah.
is because he feels like Gavin Newsom is charismatic enough to win the presidency. I don't think he likes him beyond that. I think he thinks he's a charismatic guy who could do better than Trump. I think he genuinely believes that. And that's why he's pushing so hard.
You mean the man that put non-binary sections in all toy stores across California?
Because he's not looking at that. He still sees Trump as the devil. But what he's not seeing is that the man that's charismatic and cunning and slick is usually the devil.
But you're not looking at it from an objective opinion. You're looking at it from the lens of a rich person who's got a hard-on for Newsom.
Biased also. You're very democratic. It's biased.
Slick, good. I'm fucking glad he's slick. Slick people win elections. Clinton was slick. Obama was pretty slick.
I feel about the way he handled
Good.
COVID.
Not
California was the
not
last
for it.
state to reopen.
Not for it.
Shut the
It's-
schools
not-
forever.
not for it.
Mind you, with no mask
I know.
on at the French Laundry.
I think you've been captured by this.
No, I haven't.
This is
He's a
what-
hypocrite,
this is what-
and that bothers
this-
me. The rules were absurd.
Okay. It's like
They were
really,
absurd.
You're obsessing about the dandruff.
If he was
he
a
went to the wrong
COO,
restaurant. Really?
He
like
didn't
again,
follow his own
I
rules.
get-
If you're going to be
I
a
get
leader,
it.
you lead by example. That's not fucking dandruff. If he was the COO of a company, wasn't there like
there's
a
two
$90
choices.
billion dollar?
I can almost guarantee whoever he's going to run against from the Republican Party, I almost guarantee that I will think he's smarter, better at government, which Republicans don't even take seriously. They don't know how government works. Democrats are at least wonks. They actually know how government works. It's actually very complicated. You have to study it. It's arcane. It takes a lot of people in a lot of rooms at 3 a.m. with boxes of stale pizza and coffee and making and crafting laws that you'll never read but affect your life. People who actually really get things done.
Oh, God, they work so much harder than everyone else. Oh, God. I mean, waking up early in the morning and having to drink stale coffee in our room with other people. You couldn't possibly understand what these people go through. Dude, he's digging a grave for himself. You can't get people on your side by talking down to them. If he wants people to not vote for Trump, you can't talk to the people who are considering both, him and Biden. You can't just fucking talk down to them and expect them to be like, oh, well, you're right, because you're so much smarter than me, Bill. I should vote for Newsom and Biden. No! It's not how it works.
It's not going to work.
But keep going.
Newsom probably paid him to not say anything negative. Nah, that's not true. I think Bill's just sucking his dick hard.
Something. He's got a hard-on for Newsom.
Button.
Okay.
Is he that kind of person? Yes, I think he is. And generally, we're on the same page philosophically. Is he too far woke? Absolutely. And I've said that to him many times. And I hope that if he runs for president, one of the good effects of it will move him necessarily to the center, which I would like to see him more. But compared to what they're putting forth on the other
Can
side.
we talk about DeSantis outside of his social positions?
I mean,
you're talking
what
about
if
the
you need
coffee and
can you envision a day when you would need an abortion in your life?
Okay, I said other than the social issues, but let's discuss it. Hold on.
Could you still have a baby?
Initially, his position before he ran and got pushed all the way to the right was 15 weeks. I agree with 15 weeks. 15 weeks to me is plenty of time. Europe is 12.
15 weeks, 12 weeks, it's all a fucking joke to me because either you believe in the shit or you don't.
Bill, there's nuance. You can't make it black and white like that.
Of course you can.
No, you
You're
can't.
talking about
It's not that simple.
either you believe-
A late-term abortion, they're anesthetizing the child and taking it apart in pieces,
But
as
I mean,
opposed to...
on a certain level, if you think it's murder, and here's my
It's a
position.
continuum. It's shades of gray.
I do think it's murder, and
Oh, no. We are two women who have definitely said we're not a certain on our... We agree with abortion. We just don't know exactly when to cut it off. But there is a point when that fetus can fully survive independent of the mother. There is a point. And at that point, I would say you're taking a baby.
Bill says you're either for it or you're against it. Yes, but if we have to make laws about it, we have to come to an agreement. We can't just be no or yes. We have to be like, let's come to the middle.
It's such an extreme to say you're just for it or against it. I've never in my life been like, I am for abortion. I've always been like, I'm okay with early, first trimester abortions.
Yeah.
Anything past that's insane.
The crazy bitches on TikTok who are doing abortion celebrations and abortion parties, those are like outliers. They're just nut job women who haven't had enough therapy, had the wrong therapy, or haven't been in therapy.
In any situation I could find me or any of my fellow female loved ones are not in, an abortion's a very fucking difficult situation to go through. Mm-hmm. To have to decide to do it, to know that you became pregnant even, it's a big deal. And so the glorification of it on TikTok is insane to me. But there has to, because at a certain point, it does become able
viable
to
outside the womb.
It's an independent. It's able to be independent.
Yeah.
I think that there should be some laws put in place for that. And I'm not completely if it's either you can always have an abortion until the second that baby pops out, or you can never have an abortion, then I'd choose never.
Canada, is it Canada? Did they say Canada has post-birth abortions?
I don't know what the fuck you're reading. That shit was scary.
I can't remember what country it was.
Look it up.
I don't have my phone on me.
You have a whole computer right there.
I don't want to fuck with...
don't.
Bill, there's nuance. You can't make it black and white like that.
Of course you can.
No, you
You're
can't.
talking about
It's not that simple.
either you believe-
A late-term abortion, they're anesthetizing the child and taking it apart in pieces.
I
Gray.
do think it's murder, and I'm completely okay with it. Well, it would be barbaric to kill it at 8 weeks, but
They have to
6, of course.
anesthetize the fetus and cut it into pieces.
Which,
Nothing's going to
again,
be
does not
all or
bother me at
nothing.
all. I think we have too many humans already, and I feel like if we never met you, you can't miss us, and we can't miss you because we never met you.
Somewhere between conception and birth, there is a continuum. And the answer, truthfully, no one's going to get everything they want here, is somewhere in the middle. His initial proposition was 15 weeks. That seems fair to me. You get birth control, you get the morning after pill, you get 4 months. I'm like, okay, Europe's 12. I can live with 4 months. 6 is absurd. I agree. And he got pushed there.
The problem is, I noticed when Gavin was on the show a week ago, I noticed the girls around the office that day, a little more makeup.
That's dandruff. That's your dandruff.
No, I mean,
That's your bullshit right there.
when he did the show, girls wearing a skirt today, a little more makeup. I'm just saying, as a politician, it doesn't hurt to have that effect on half the people who are voting. And I'm guessing he doesn't have that effect on you.
So he thinks that the 50% of the population, meaning women,
Are gonna vote because he's hot.
are going to be stupid enough to vote for Newsom because he's hot. Did he have too much to drink in this episode? Because he's saying some stupid shit right now. And I haven't heard him sound this stupid ever.
The women who are gonna vote are following Taylor Swift,
Not Fabio.
not a silver fox. They're so young, and he is gray.
Yeah, he's crusty and old to them. What is he talking about? Millennial girls, my age,
Yeah,
being
probably.
ooh, I'm gonna vote for him because he's so Sexy.
Ooh, daddy with money. Thank you.
Yeah, he'll let a lot of dudes in our fucking locker rooms, and we have to go to the non-binary section to find any toys for my they/them child. But
My hate them child.
that's not a good point for your side, Bill. Being like, well, he is good with the ladies like him, so he should be president.
Help.
The left is losing their minds. He's losing it. He's fucking gone.
Send help.
Like this video, subscribe to our channel, join our membership. Get a membership.
Email us, thepanicbuttonpodcast@gmail.com.